There's something about Nigerian football. Of course, it's our own. We want to see our boys, we want to see our players do well. And when they don't do so well, no matter what age range they're playing at, it's a gut punch. So we expect the best even from players who are mostly inexperienced, especially when we consider that the people they're playing against, the opponents, the footballers that they're playing against, are mostly of the same age as them. They are in the same age group. So if the other team is able to play good football, there's no reason why ours should not be. And to that, of course, we've been blessed with the last couple of years of development in our young talents. Some of those talents don't get translated into the first team, the Super Eagles, but at the very least, at the age group that they play, they do bring a lot of good times and quality memory for us. In this particular instance, I'm speaking of the under 17 teams, the Super Eaglets. They have done something that every year, every few years, in whatever tournament they're playing in, whatever new crop of players are playing, we expect for them to do and perform to the very best of their abilities. Recently, they just finished playing against South Africa in the final group game of the AFCON under 17 tournament, and it was certainly a goal bonanza. There was plenty of action on both ends. We would like to, of course, see our players do better than concede any goal at all. If our goalkeeper can keep a clean sheet, it means not only did the strikers perform, but so did the defender and the goalkeeper. But that was not what happened in this game. In this game, the match finished 3-2, and even though it finished 3-2, it was an enjoyable watch. And while we would like to not concede matches, I think it raised the stake of how important the game was, knowing that our opponent were able and willing to come at us with the same verve, and that we did not stop ourselves from going at them with everything we had. Now, we go into the quarterfinal stage, ready to face Burkina Faso. And people are having their say about what needs to be done for us to finish the competition on a high note. Might we get past Burkina Faso? Who knows? Anything can happen in football. But if we are to get past them, if we are to go all the way to the final and beat whoever is standing in our way and claim the trophy all for ourselves, it will require much more solidity at the back than the game against South Africa suggests we're capable of. And one former Super Eagles goalkeeper, Aloy Agu, has warned the Golden Eaglets to keep things tight at the back ahead of their clash with Burkina Faso in the ongoing 2023 Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations. Nigeria is set to face Burkina Faso in the quarterfinals of the tournament on Thursday. That's 11th of May. Nigeria made it to the final 8 stage after beating South Africa in their last Group B game, while Burkina Faso defeated Cameroon 2-1 on Sunday. However, Agu stated that he's optimistic the team can overcome Burkina Faso in the knockout stages. He also warned the team to tighten up their defense and avoid conceding goals if they are to book a World Cup berth. Now, playing in these competitions, the qualification for World Cup can be determined by finishing in the final 4, final 2 places of the tournament. And if Nigeria definitely going to qualify for that World Cup without having to play another qualification round of games, we will have to go to the very end of the tournament. Even if we don't win it, we must do our very best to to get into the final. Agu makes a valuable point. You see, oftentimes statistics have become the nature of how we decide whether a team is doing well, whether a player is doing well in his position or not. How many goals, how many tackles, how many assists, how many clear-cut chances created, how many goals conceded. And that last stat particularly applies to the goalkeeper. Now, in any given season, clean sheets are how goalkeepers get determined for awards. But one thing that makes clean sheets possible is the defense, the back four, or even, depending on how the coach decides to play, whether it's to have two players from the midfield drop deeper and contribute to the defensive phases of the play, or the whole team drops back and packs the boss. It depends on how the coach wants to play, really. And that can be the difference between whether a goalkeeper finishes a tournament or league season with a high number of clean sheets. It literally requires more help from the rest of the team. The defense must cover the goalkeeper. Sure, the space he has to defend may seem small, but when the shot is coming at him at 5 miles an hour, it is hard to jump from one side of the post to the other and keep the ball out. And in this instance, 3-2 win over South Africa will not do it if the next game we are not the team that proves capable of outscoring the other. Sure, they say the best defense is a good offense. But there's also another saying: attacks win games, strikers win games, but defenders, goalkeepers, they win titles, they win tournaments. And no matter how good our goalkeeper is, the rest of the team must contribute. And it begs the question, how is the manager, how is the head coach setting out this team to defend? If we're conceding 2 goals against South Africa, yes, South Africa are no slouches in the tournament. But if we are conceding 2 goals and yet scoring 3, it means our offense is very good, but our defense has still a lot to be desired. We'll see if we can beat Burkina Faso by outscoring them, even if the game is one where it's a high scoreline. It would be nice to win 3 goals to 0, but if we can't do that, at least if we score more goals than the other team, then that's still one way of getting the job done. Hello and welcome back to the show, Plus Sports on PlusTvAfrica. I am still your host, Mikhail Tinubu, and I am joined now in the studio by Henry Iwuanyanwu.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
It's been a while. I've been trying to get you back in the studio to talk about what's going on in sports in general, but before I move on, I can't have you in the studio and not talk about the Golden Eaglets. Yes, they won the game 3-2. They had plenty of chances. Clearly, the offensive side of the game is working for them. But the defensive side is still shaky, which is not usual for Nigerian teams.
Yeah.
We usually, even if we go out and we struggle to attack, we usually do better defensively. Is it the coaching style that is different? So different? Is it just a crop of more attack-minded players at this level in this particular tournament? What is it that you attribute the nature of that scoreline 3-2 against South Africa to?
Yeah, it was a nice game, though we can see how South Africa was able to dominate the game at the time, and then our boys were able to fight back. And that shows the spirit of Nigeria. So the team, initially when they started, we saw a team that looks more like they are not playing in unit, and more like some passes being made to a weaker foot. We saw all that. But I think the coach must have studied these players very well and was able to change a lot. And now we're able to beat South Africa, which I would say the team is, in fact, they are out there to win. And now we are facing Burkina Faso for this particular quarterfinals, So this is a time that we are going to determine if we are going to qualify. Okay, and I see our team qualifying. I see the Golden Eaglets qualifying. Yeah, you talk about the defensive part of the game. From what I have seen so far, just like every other person's observation, the defense have been weak. Now we are facing Burkina Faso. Some of the players are very fast. We can see the guy we call Kamara there, who is Alio, who scored the 2 goals against Cameroon. That boy, he has the speed, and we're expecting a lot of players from the Burkina Faso that has that pace. But it is high time. I think what the Golden Eaglet is going to do, they are going to defend a lot. Okay, we expected them to defend and at the same time have a mindset to attack. So I will be seeing a lot of zonal defense. I'll be seeing a massive defense from our own side, and probably we may even attack from what I have seen, looking at the game they played against, that is their last game, that is the Burkina Faso vs Cameroon. So I see chances of us taking counter-attack because they are also defensive-minded. So it's a game that we have to play seriously. I mean, take the tactical aspect of the game very serious. So I see us beating Burkina Faso. Don't be surprised. The coach himself know for sure they have to. This is a game of do or die.
Well, you and I know the value, or shall I say, the danger of going into a game, starting it poorly, mindset not right, you're not concentrated. The other team quickly snaps and scores a couple goals, and then you are playing from behind throughout the rest of the game. Even if you score one, you still have one more goal to score. At the very least, you're scoring the first goal potentially to level. That's if you're just 1-0 down. If you're 2-0 down, that's even worse. 3-0 down, that even worse. It's like -2, -3. Every goal that is scored against you. You're scoring your first couple of goals just to level up before you can go again for the winning goal.
Yes.
That is more energy, more concentration than you would need if you had started the game with your focus right. How is it that, okay, I should say, are we in danger of going into the next game against Burkina Faso with the same mentality that led to us conceding the first goals against
Morocco? Yeah, the players are a bit relaxed. Okay, more like they really want to see what will happen, and all of a sudden there was a serious attack, and then the errors, the mistakes comes in, and Morocco make use of those chances. So, but we are not going to see that this time around. I think the players have learned their lessons. Also, the coaching crew, they know what it means to lose at this stage. We can't be pushed at the background at this particular time. So we are expecting to see us qualify. Not only qualify, we have to beat this particular Burkina Faso. And don't forget again, our last game with Burkina Faso, still under 17, was 2-1. Okay, they have beaten us before 3-2, and yeah, I expected us to look at some of those chances we have and be able to use these players. I see a lot of good players in this squad, irrespective of how young they are. I see a lot of chances we have with them. So the coach will definitely do a lot with them. I think they have given them a lot of pet talk and all that. So they won't relax. They won't relax.
I hope so, because when it comes to sports of any kind, the mind, the mental part of it is almost more important than the physical part. You can train your physical ability. That one works itself out. In fact, the mental part can determine how well you work and groom and tone your body and become physically at your best. But even when you are at your physical best, your mindset going into any competition is what determines really if you have a chance. And it can be the difference between you winning a medal, a tournament, a competition, or if you lose spectacularly.
Yeah.
At this age, at under 17 groups, are these players, can the coaching staff use the kind of grooming techniques that they do for the national side, for the national senior side, to get the same kind of motivated responses from these lads who are young and may not be capable of accepting criticism, able to accept screaming and shouting, because we know managers go into locker rooms frustrated at halftime and screaming and throwing water bottles.
Yeah.
But that can damage the mental focus of some players.
Yeah, true.
Instead of motivating them or inspiring them. Are these coaches able to use those kinds of techniques that would typically work for the senior sides?
Yeah, Coach Ndoka is a well-qualified coach, CAF coach, and he knows the implication of doing the wrong thing in this kind of competition. He also knows the benefit of doing the right thing. You know, he understands the ethics of coaching very well. He's a man I can vouch for. He won't go to that extent. Just as you said, the component, physical, technical, tactical, psychological. So this time around, as you said, I agree with you. The psychological aspect of managing these players, you know, especially looking at their young age, you know. So it's very important. It's not about screaming. It's about giving them the right talk and for them to understand. And I believe most of them have passed what we call in coaching body language and as well as listening skills. So it's left for them to listen very well, absorb everything that is given to them or the instruction given to them, and then they will be able to perform.
I wouldn't make a very good coach, because I know when I'm watching football, sometimes I want to throw things at my TV. I'm wondering how, because for me, the number one skill you can possess in football is good decision making. Now, you require 11 players to make the right decision every time for everything to go right and for a goal to get scored. Sometimes you can get a goal by just sheer accident. You can get a goal because the other team is just error prone. You can get a goal because you're doing one basic thing right. You are pressuring and pressing hard, and the ball falls to you. Sometimes the luck of the game can shine in your favor, but players, sometimes they make such bad decisions that I'm wondering, like, if I was there, would I be squeezing?
Yeah.
But this is why they are paid the big bucks, the coaches. This is why they go through such intense training processes themselves to become the best at the job that they do.
Tinubu, you know, emotional intelligence is highly required. So definitely.
But there was a coach recently that all of the hype around his emotional intelligence, emotional ability to understand the psyche of the players will be such a valuable asset. And in the end, it was the tactics that failed spectacularly. He was incapable of picking a first 11, picking a second 11, knowing who his best players are, adapting. He kept going for the wrong makeup of squad, and of course, without saying it, you probably already know who I'm talking about. Graham Potter at Chelsea. Everything that has happened at my beloved Chelsea FC is all down to him. As much as people want to blame the owners, I say if you're coaching in the Premier League and someone gives you a job as important as the Chelsea Football Club hot seat. You can't do any worse than Graham Potter did at Chelsea. And it begs the question, how good was he ever really at Brighton?